grab a seat and strap in because my 5-point harness is in need of replacement. The NHRA requires that safety harnesses be changed every 2 years, and mine was up December of 2021, and I have a new replacement. I bought the same kind. I'm surprised the price increase was quite significant. It went from like $60, 2 years ago to like $118 or whatever I spent this time. But anyway. My new belts are good until June 2024, and let's get them put in the car. I picked up a new harness from Summit Racing. Of course, there's a box in a box. Did not expect that. So my harness is an RCI harness, like one I had in the car. Oh, and we're good until June of 2024 on this guy. Very nice. Alright, now in the 2022 NHRA rule book, section 4, page 1 takes you to the ET handicap racing section. And if you go a little deeper on page 2 of section 4, you'll get to the Super Pro, Pro, and the Sportsman classes, and that's where I'm going to show you the requirements. Now on page 8 of section 4, we'll scroll down here to driver restraint system, and I will read it verbatim. Seatbelt mandatory in all cars. Driver restraint system meeting SFI spec 16.1 mandatory in any car running 1149 or quicker. And you jump down here a little bit, it says SFI 16.1 restraint system when required includes crotch strap and must be updated at 2-year intervals from the date of manufacturer, which is what we've done here. And then if you scroll down further on page 8, you'll see neck collar, and it says neck collar meeting SFI spec 3.3 mandatory in all cars running 999 or quicker, or cars exceeding 135 miles an hour. And I'm not running that quick, but better safe than sorry, and a little help goes a long way. While we're on the subject of safety, another area of safety would be the protective gear that I wear. And I've added a piece for this upcoming season, and if you look no further than the intro video that I always put at the beginning of my videos, you'll see why, and I'll add the clip right here. In addition to the helmet, let me take my glasses off. In addition to the helmet, which my voice is muffled because I'm talking on the through the helmet. So in addition to the helmet, I got this Race Clip brand neck brace to put around my neck, obviously, and that will help support my neck on launches, and in the event that I would have an emergency and need to have some stability. This should help me a lot. So I'm looking forward to trying it out. I know it's going to be hotter with it on, but safety comes first. As I mentioned, it's a pretty simple device that serves a pretty good purpose. It's just the padded, very dense foam of some sort inside there, and You just undo the Velcro and slip it around your noggin. It's made in China, and it meets the NHRA requirements, and I would assume the IHRA requirements as well. If you look at section 22, page 1 of the 2022 NHRA rulebook, it has a list of SFI specifications and their expiration dates, and I will go over a few that apply to me. My SFI spec on my jacket is 3.2A/1, and it does not have an expiration date. My neck collar is a 3.3 SFI spec, and it also does not have an expiration date. Now my full face helmet is a 31.1 2015 SFI spec, and it expires in 2027, so I've got a few more years there. And my window net that I have in the car is way outdated because it has a 2-year expiration date, and I think my net is a 2011, but I'm seeing differing information on the internet that slower cars do not have to abide by an expiration date on window net, but I will look into that further, and if it is expired, for sure I will get it replaced. I mentioned at the beginning of this video that I had a new mic that I would be using for my next video. Actually, I used it for this segment on the neck collar. So here's my little setup. It's not top of the line, but it serves me quite well, and I have a lot of fun with it. Now back to the 5-point harness install. I'm going to start with all the belts on the lower portion of the seat, and first off we will swap out the crotch strap.
This bottom one just clips on, so we'll get it off with a clip. Hopefully it'll come loose.
And yes, I am using the spoiler and the hatch area on my car as a makeshift workbench. I'm hoping this might save me a little bit of time, but I'm going to use this blue tape and mark the new one roughly in the spot where I had the old one webbed, so I don't have to make too many adjustments, because this is the crotch strap and it's under the front seat, so the easier I can make it on myself, the better. I'm going to lace the lap belts while the brackets are mounted to the floorboard, because that is easiest, and I'm going to start with the one that would be crossing over my left hip. The lap belt that goes across my right hip is probably the most difficult belt to work with here, because it's down between the seat and the drive shaft tunnel, and there's not a whole lot of room to reach in there. But thankfully I was able to get it done.
dressed them cheap. Sing every this morning, hang out in the cool spot. Old boy with the bleach blonde hair.
Now I gotta climb back in here and place the belt through the bracket. Now that the lap belts are reinstalled, the new belts, how that is, I'm going to sit in the seat and check them for fitment and make my adjustments to them now before I do the shoulder belts.
Yeah, I can work with that. I can tighten them up from there.
For Christmas, my wife got me this awesome Bluetooth speaker for the garage because my previous music experience was this old, probably gosh, 30-plus-year-old radio that I've had, since I was just a kid, and the reception was terrible. It was a fight for static every time. So now I've got this speaker, and I can turn it on and listen to my tunes. This break is brought to you by the product that rhymes with Fountain Pew. You've probably noticed by now that I'm doing these belts one at a time, taking the old one out and replacing it with the new one. So we'll just go to the next belt on the list, and that would be the left shoulder belt. I'm going to hang on to the old belts for a while. I might find some use for them, or, I might not, and I'll just end up pitching them. This RCI, or better known as Racer's Choice Incorporated 5-point harness, is really nice equipment, and I am in no way knocking it here, but these instructions kind of crack me up. If you go down to instruction number 2, I will read it verbatim. Shoulder harness lengths are based on the distance from the adjuster to the mounting point, measured halfway between the collarbone and the chest nipple. Okay, I'm going to stop right there. Chest nipple, yes. Where else would a nipple be? Are we harnessing livestock too with this thing? I don't know, it just made me chuckle. Time to stick the new one in. Since I'm walking over to turn the heat off because it's plenty warm in here now, it's the perfect time to give you my typical weather report. It is 50 degrees outside and about 82 degrees in here. When I lace this left shoulder belt back in, I'm going to try my best to match the length of it with the old right shoulder belt that's still installed in the car. visual aid that I keep on hand for lacing these shoulder harness belts comes from an October 2017 RPM magazine article where the writer Chuck Scott shows some very nice color photos of lacing some belts, and I found it to be very helpful. It's hard to see, but if you look closely, right behind my seat, you can see that I have laced these shoulder harnesses like the RPM magazine article suggested. It makes it for a really clean install. Now before I put the right shoulder belt in place, I'm going to hop in here and check the length and make any necessary adjustments to the left shoulder belt before proceeding. Alright, let's get the right shoulder belt taken out of the car. Now that I know the length of the left shoulder belt, I'm going to obviously match the right shoulder belt to it, and that should make adjustments very minimal. Now that I've got all the belts installed in the car, it's time to sit back down in the driver's seat and check for fitment and make any adjustments that I think are necessary. You might notice that I forgot to put the crotch strap in place. The way the belt latches together, you have to put it in between both the left and the right hip latches, and it all interlocks together, so I had to undo it real quick. I checked for several things here. Checked to make sure I could reach the steering wheel comfortably, could reach the door. I have a door limiter strap that I can grab while I'm harnessed in, and then I wiggle around and move around a little bit, making sure that I'm nice and snug in the seat, as you should be. Another thing that's not required for the speed that I'm going, but I have installed anyway because you can never be too safe, is the window net, and I'm just checking to make sure it still fits okay when I'm seated in the car.
I'm ready to race.
Alright, here it is, the finished project. The ironic thing about this, I changed this belt out on the very last day it was valid. Didn't do that on purpose, but that's kind of funny. Well, that's going to do it for this video. Hope you enjoyed watching a little bit of a safety upgrade. Can you talk for me? Huh? Can you talk? Will you talk for me? Huh? Can I get you to say anything? You normally won't be quiet. You're not going to talk? Come on, Leo. Give me a meow. Anything? Huh? Come on. Give it to me. No? Well, okay. Fair enough.